Hello, Soberinos. So today I want to talk about self-sabotage. And self-sabotage is one of those things that many of us do when we first start thinking about stopping drinking, when we first stop drinking, and when we first start learning to live our lives sober, when we want to stay sober. One of the things that can often happen, and it's usually at an unconscious level, we're not even aware and making conscious choices about what we're doing. It's happening unconsciously because we've gone into our automatic programs. And one of the things that happens is that we sabotage our own efforts to change our behaviours and to do something that's helpful, healthy for us. So, why do we do this self-sabotage? Why do we stop ourselves from doing the thing that we know is going to make us feel good? It's going to make us feel happy. It's going to make us feel better about ourselves. It's going to help us grow our self-confidence. It's going to help us become more empowered. It's going to help us become more in control. If making this change, whether that's stopping drinking or whether that's stopping sugar, cutting out sugar, or whether it's stopping smoking, or whether it's whatever it might be, whatever the habit is that we want to cultivate, we have a habit of self-sabotaging those efforts. And one of the reasons, there are many, many reasons, but one of the reasons that we do this is because, and this might sound counterintuitive, it's because we haven't actually thought about all of the good reasons why we were drinking in the first place. We haven't thought about the positive intentions behind our drinking. We haven't identified all of the jobs that alcohol was doing for us. Because the truth is that alcohol has been doing lots of great jobs for us, and it's been really, really good at it. If alcohol wasn't good at doing all these jobs for us, we wouldn't have kept using it. We wouldn't have kept doing it over and over again. So one of the things, and this is the bit that can sound counterintuitive, one of the things that we encourage people to do when they join the Go Get Sober guidance program is to start to think about all of the good things, all of the jobs that alcohol was doing for us. Because when we do that and we end up with a list of all of the things that alcohol did for us, we can then start finding other ways to get those jobs done. We can find alternative, healthier ways to meet all of the old positive intentions behind our drinking. And when we find other ways to get those jobs done and to meet those positive intentions, we set ourselves up for success, because it becomes much less likely that we will self-sabotage, because the unconscious part of our mind, which is seeking answers, it's seeking solutions to those issues, it's seeking ways to get those jobs done, that unconscious part of our minds is much more likely to be satisfied with the changes that we're making to our lifestyle if we have found other ways to get those jobs done. So a good example is one of the jobs that alcohol did for me was it enabled me, oh God, there were so many, it's tricky for me to choose one. But one of the things that alcohol did for me was it enabled me to feel more confident at social events, because I found social events tricky. I found them challenging. I used to feel shy and awkward and like I was probably the most boring person in the world without alcohol, and that I was going to be bored stupid at social events. So one of the jobs that alcohol was doing for me was it was enabling me to feel much more confident and much more sociable and much more outgoing. And it was enabling me to talk to people in a much more animated way. It was almost like alcohol was enabling me to play a part, to act in a way that didn't come too naturally for me. And in order to live my life successfully sober and to not sabotage my own efforts to do that, I needed to find other ways of growing my confidence socially. So one of the things that I did was I put myself deliberately into social situations that made me uncomfortable, because the way I figured it was I need to practice. This is a skill I need to learn. And like any new skill, it's going to take practice. It's going to take time. It's going to take repetition. So what did I do? I actively sought out social situations that would make me uncomfortable. And I would deliberately put myself in those situations, but I would do it for time limits. I would limit my time so that it was manageable and so that I had an escape route. And bit by bit, I built up my social confidence. What I also did was I used a lot of the techniques that are in the Go Get Sober program. I used a lot of those techniques to also build my confidence. Some of the audios, some of the mindfulness techniques, and I would mentally rehearse going into social situations, and I would mentally rehearse going into social situations and navigating them supremely confidently and being happy and comfortable in those situations. And by using all of these techniques and tools, and by practicing and by putting myself into these situations, and by thinking about this as a new skill that I was learning and approaching it realistically, thinking about, the fact that I was going to have to do a lot of practice, I was going to have to do a lot of repetition, I was going to have to commit myself to this, and it was going to take time. By understanding and accepting all of that, I enabled myself to grow more and more confident. The more I practiced, the more I used these tools and techniques, the better I got at it. Now, I'm not saying that I don't ever feel shy or awkward now. There are times when I feel shy and awkward still, but they are a lot less than they used to be. They hardly ever happen. And when they do happen, I'm sort of comfortable with the discomfort, if you see what I mean. So if I'm feeling shy and I'm going into a social situation, and if I have any worries at all about being boring or being bored or not fitting in, like I've got a wedding coming up next weekend that I'm going to, and those are the kind of feelings and thoughts that I'm having. I'm not going to know anyone. I'm not going to get on with anyone. I'm not going to fit in because they're not the kind of people that I'm going to have anything in common with. None of these thoughts and feelings will stop me from going into that social situation and actually feeling quite calm, feeling quite comfortable. And what I'll do in advance is a bit of preparation, a bit of planning, a bit of mental rehearsal using some of the tools in the program. And I will go into that wedding situation feeling really calm, feeling really confident and curious. I will go in a state of curiosity, wanting to discover, almost like an intrepid explorer, if you like, going into a situation and wondering how it's going to be. How is it going to be? How long is it going to take for me to start to feel confident, to start to enjoy myself, to start having a laugh, to start interacting and engaging with other people? How long might it take me to meet someone who I get along well with, who I build up a bit of a connection with? How many people will I meet that I'll have something in common with? So what I'll do in advance of going into that social setting is that I will do a bit of preparation to change the approach, to change my mindset. So I'm going in positively and in a state of curiosity. And a state of curiosity is always, always much healthier than a state of anxiety. So in terms of the original point, because I feel as if I'm going slightly off at a tangent here, in terms of the original point, which is about self-sabotage, and just kind of summarizing that so far, is that one of the reasons we self-sabotage is that we haven't identified the positive intentions behind our drinking. The bit that can seem counterintuitive is to actually sit down and make a list of all of the positive intentions behind your drinking. But it is a really important step to take, because when you can identify all of those jobs that alcohol was doing for you, you can find alternative ways to get those jobs done, just like I've done in terms of social situations, social events, finding other ways to grow my confidence and to feel less inhibited and to get more comfortable with being myself, and sometimes being a bit shy or being a bit awkward, but feeling comfortable and confident with that. And what you also find is, and particularly I find this with social situations, is that the longer you do it, the more you practice it, the more confident you feel anyway, the more fun you have, the more enjoyment you get, and they end up being something that you no longer dread, that you no longer worry about, you no longer feel anxious about. So first step is to uncover those positive intentions, uncover all of the jobs that alcohol was doing for you in the first place, and start to think about other ways you can get those jobs done. And by doing that, and by putting into practice all of those other ways you can meet those positive intentions, you set yourself up for success, and you make it less likely that you will sabotage your own efforts. So let me know some of the jobs that alcohol was doing for you. And if you want more tips, if you want more guidance, if you want more strategies on how to do some of the things I've been talking about, you can always come along and join the guidance program on the Go Get Sober website, where you will get all the support you need and access to all of the tools and resources that you need. I will look forward to catching up with you in tomorrow's Saturday Share, but in the meantime, let's go get sober together. Bye for now.